Clinical and bioequivalence department in the pharmaceutical industry. Let's start with the video for understanding the role of this clinical and bioequivalence department. Bioequivalence means there is a similar pharmacokinetics for the different formulations. Whether you are testing the generic formulation with reference formulation or you are testing the two generic formulations before change and after change, you can remember the SUPEC guidelines, or you can say that the testing between the two different formulations. Also, clinical department means the department which is mainly related to the clinical activities, whether these are related to bioequivalence, whether these are related to the effects of medicine. The role of clinical and bioequivalence department in the pharmaceutical industry is mainly related to the R&D, and also it is related to the other departments like compliance, regulatory compliance, manufacturing activities, marketing, and many others like pharmacovigilance also. So this department has a role in ensuring drug safety, efficacy, and regulatory compliance. Generic formulations are required to be bioequivalent to the reference formulations, and the bioequivalence studies are performed in the research and development phase. So, bioequivalence and clinical department is much more related to research and development department. This department is related to the pilot bioequivalence studies, clinical studies, and pivotal bioequivalence studies for the research, and also this department gives the inputs to other departments like regulatory and marketing. It gives inputs for compliance to the quality standards and compliance to the regulatory authorities. The clinical and bioequivalence or B department plays a great role in the pharma industry by ensuring that the products are bioequivalent, products are safe, and the products are effective, and these meets the quality parameters. This department focuses on clinical trials, bioequivalence trials, and pharmacokinetic pharmacodynamic evaluations for the drug approvals. In many of the organizations, bioequivalence and clinical study department is also related to the generation of intellectual properties like patents by making the innovative ways or by working onto the innovative ways to make the safe and effective medicines. The key responsibilities of this department are like clinical trial management, bioequivalence studies, PKPD studies and analysis, documentation and compliance, ethics and patient safety, data management and statistical analysis. Also, licensing activity is done by this department. Clinical trial management involves conducting clinical trials phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4 for new and generic drugs. I have made separate videos on clinical trials. You can go through those videos to have good information. Bioequivalence studies establishing therapeutic equivalence between generic and innovator products. Also, by bridging the pharmacokinetic and pharmacodynamic studies for the SUPEC changes. Pharmacokinetic and dynamic studies (PKPD) analysis studying the drug absorption, distribution, metabolism, and elimination. All these studies are done through the bioequivalence department. Regulatory compliance and documentation involves ensuring adherence to FDA, EMA, ICH, WHO, and other regulatory guidelines. This department ensures ethics and patient safety by conducting studies with ethical considerations and patient rights. This department deals with licensing activity from local authorities or from the country specific authorities and the foreign regulatory bodies. Data management and statistical analysis. It is related for interpreting the clinical data for regulatory submissions. Clinical trial management. It conducts and it manages all the clinical trials. It ensures the trials are done with good clinical practices. It manages patient recruitment, informed consent, and trial executions. Bioequivalence studies ensures generic drugs have similar bioavailability and pharmacokinetics. Conducts pharmacokinetic studies to compare Cmax, Tmax, AUC, and other parameters. It supports novel drug applications, new drug applications, and the generic applications like ANDA. Pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics analysis. It is called as PKPD analysis. This department is related to evaluation of how drugs behave in the body by PKPD modeling. Nowadays, many simulation techniques are there using some softwares. This department assesses drug absorption, metabolism, distribution, and excretion, that is ADME pattern. It supports dose optimization and therapeutic efficacy studies. Regulatory compliance and documentation role involves ensuring studies to meet the global regulatory standards and specific standards provided by or required by FDA, EMA, ICH, WHO, CDSCO, ANVISA, and many others. It prepares clinical study protocols and reports for the regulatory submission through dossiers. It supports submission for IND, BE-IND, and NDA filings, ANDA filings, and other generic applications. It is responsible for maintaining the patient safety and ethical standards, complies with the Institutional Review Board IRB and Independent Ethics Committee IEC requirements. And these requirements are there for meeting the standards of ethics and the patient safety during the bioequivalence and clinical trials. It ensures patient safety, informed consent, and adheres to the standards. It can guide the pharmaceutical organization for the ethics and patient safety. It also does adverse event monitoring. It follows declaration for good clinical practices, guidelines, and other related regulatory requirements. Data management and statistical analysis is the another role for this department. It is responsible for collection, management, and analysis of the clinical data. Also, it uses the biostatistics and software tools for data interpretation. It ensures integrity and compliance with the good clinical data management practices, that is GCDMP. So what is the importance of this department? It bridges the gap between the preclinical research and market approval, ensures generic drugs meet bioequivalence standards for patient safety, and that's why it plays a role in obtaining global regulatory approvals. So in conclusion, clinical and BE studies are essential for drug approval and patient safety, and this is the main role of this BE and clinical department. It ensures that the drugs meet regulatory, therapeutic, and ethical standards. It supports pharmaceutical innovation and public health. Also, this department is involved in generation of the intellectual properties like patents for the pharmaceutical organization. Clinical and bioequivalence department is related to generation of the novel molecules, and research and discovery of the new drugs and new therapy areas in the pharmaceutical industry. I hope this video will guide you to understand the role of clinical and bioequivalence department. And if you have any queries, you can mail me. I have given my mail ID in the description. Thank you for watching the video.